Hello, welcome. I am Yo-Yo, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I've got a deck of 1001 Aladdin playing cards by United States Playing Card Company. I opened these up about 3 weeks ago, and they are well worn. So I thought, well, maybe we can try and revive them, make them last a little bit longer. You know, you don't want to keep throwing cards in the bin every time. So, oops, as you can see, these things are dirty. You know, they are a bit clumpy looking, as you can see. You know, you've got cards that all stick to each other, and yeah, they very are clumpy. So, like I said, I've been using these for about 3 weeks, for about an hour a day. If I was just to open this one deck and use it constantly all the time, it would probably last me about 2 weeks. But you know, I do swap about, so I've been using these for about an hour a day for the last 3 weeks, as well as like bicycle tally-hos and bees, you know, and things like that. So I've been changing about, but I wanted to just do an experiment anyway with this stuff, fanning powder. Now it cost me, as you can probably see there, £4.99. I've got it from Merchants of Magic at the magicshop.co.uk. I'll leave a link in the description for that. And I thought these might revive it. Now I have seen a bloke on YouTube who had a 37-year-old bicycle deck, and he brought them back to life. So I'm not really going to be using this for typically fanning, but just to see if I can bring decks back to life. You know, not so much, you know, the fact that, you know, these cars are what, £3-4 quid each, much as the bicycles and the tally-hos and the bees, you know. But if you're going to start using, you know, more expensive decks like the Nox I've got over there, or the Aristocrat over here, you know, you don't want to be just throwing decks away left, right and centre that cost you £7, £8, £10, £12. So, and plus they're not the sort of decks that you use for spectator magic anyway, or card games or anything like that. If you're going to have other people handle your decks, then obviously the bicycles, these tally-hos, bees, they'll probably be the traditional decks that, you know, you would use for other people. So yeah, so we're going to use this. We're going to go to the kitchen because I don't want to make too much of a mess, and well, see what this is all about. As you can see, it's still sealed. I've not opened this up yet, so yeah, let's give it a go and see if we can make these Aladdins last a little bit longer. And you can see there, looks all, they're all dirty and clumpy and horrible. I mean, even if you was to do a riffle shuffle, let's try a riffle shuffle. Yeah, see, you can feel the resistance on the cards as you try and square the deck up. You know, maybe a Pharaoh shuffle. Yeah, I can definitely feel the resistance. I've got to use a bit of pressure to square them up. So let's see if we can revive these Aladdins, and I'll come back. Let's go to the kitchen and see what we can do with this. Right, well, here we are in the kitchen. So we're going to do a bit of fanning powder on these Aladdins, and I'm going to use a just a Tesco freezer bag. So let's put the cards in there. I don't know how to do this. This is my first time, so this is my guinea pig deck. So I don't know. Let's see if we can mix them up in there. So let's see what we can do. So we've got the fanning powder. I don't know how much to use, so I don't know how much to use or anything like that. So we're just going to sprinkle a load in and just see if that's enough or not. And we'll give the bag a seal up, see if we can seal this thing up. Yeah, that was pretty easy. So let's give them a bit of a shake. about. Scrunch them around. And a little bit of a riffle, just get some see if we can turn the cards over inside the bag. I don't know if that'll do anything or not. Let's see. So we'll do a bit more. We'll sprinkle a little bit more in there. Now these things meant to last ages. They could probably last, I don't know, get 100 decks with it maybe. It's just what I've been hearing. I get to try it myself. Shake. Right, let's see if we can get these all out then. See if we can put them all back together. Just like so. See, powder's going everywhere. Oh, I don't know if that's too much or not at the moment. Let's give them a riffle, see what happens. It's going to be dust everywhere. No, not too bad. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is riffle shuff these and give them a few farrows, see what happens, and I'll get back to you once I've got all this dust off, because as you can probably see, some of the cards have got bits of dust on them. Like that one's got more dust than that one. Yeah, and plus it's all over my hands. Okay, I'll be back shortly once I've cleaned up all the dust, and we'll get back and see what the results are. Well, this is my conclusion. It's going to be honest. With this particular deck, I can still feel resistance. I don't think it's done a great deal. Maybe the deck is well worn in too much, way beyond saviour. So I don't really notice much of a difference, to be honest with you, with this deck. It's still, I suppose it spreads a little bit better, but nothing what I thought it would be. And the cards don't seem to be sticking together as much as they were, but I can still feel my resistance. You know, it feels like, you know, even just moving that top card off, there's a lot of, it's not really as slippy as it should be. You know, I don't want it massive slippery, like brand spanking new out the box slippery, but I can definitely, I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, so yeah, they're not, let's have a look, give it a little bit of a riffle. And yeah, I'm still using a bit of force just to square the deck up. So yeah, not too impressed with it. This deck, it could be just this deck, it could be just the fact that it's well worn in, you know, 3 weeks, an hour a day, probably past its life. But I didn't just conclude it at that deck. So although at first impressions with this one, with the fanning powder, which I still have here, yeah, not the best, so not too impressed. But I did do this B deck, and now this wasn't the best either. Even brand spanking at the back, it was kind of not so much clumpy, but the thick cards and like casino stock. But these are now turns me a little bit. So these are quite impressive. These handle a lot better than what they did brand new out the box. Now I have been using these on and off over the last few weeks as well, so they are not worn in but fairly worn. And yeah, so, and these spread a lot better because these were very clumpy. There's still a bit of powder on that 7 there, I can see. So yeah, so to be honest with you, probably not as good as I thought it was going to be, but it does work with some decks. Now we'll try it out with a few other decks. Once this bicycle deck is ready, I'll probably do that one again. Maybe a few other decks. There was quite a few decks that I want to get done, to be honest with you, bring them back to life a little bit, some more premium ones. But yeah, with this one, I don't think it really did a great deal. I think maybe using it for an hour a day for 3 weeks, at least an hour a day. Some days it was 2. But yeah, it didn't really do a lot, and I think these are just, you know, fit for the bin. Or I might just keep them and playing around. I might use them for practicing and things, but yeah, they're not very good. Okay, so that is my conclusion. Yes, I will carry on using that fanning powder. I'll probably do an update later on in life if I find it's doing well with other decks. But with this deck, not so good. In fact, hardly anything at all. Maybe, you know, maybe stops the car sticking together when you spread. The B deck was a lot better. It felt a lot better than it did brand new out the packet, and I've been using that on and off as well for the last few weeks. So I have noticed a difference with the B deck, but this deck, virtually no difference at all. So yeah, it depends how well worn your deck is, I suppose. You know, it was an experiment, you know, honest. So it's best to try it out, and I will try it out with a few other decks, and if I think it works quite well with other decks, I'll let you know. But as for now, no. If you're going to use a deck constantly for 3-4 weeks and then use a fanning powder, I don't think it's going to do much. If you've got a deck like the Bees, which I've only been using on and off, you know, 10 minutes here, half hour there, over the last couple of weeks, and not every single day either, yeah, maybe you can and spread and extend the life a little bit of your cards. But as for a deck that's already been well worn and it's probably got finger grease and all sorts of things on it, even though I do wash my hands every time I play with my cards, but you know, you still can't help with a bit of finger grease on your fingertips and whatnot if you get sweaty palms on a hot day or something. You know, that soon goes in the cards as well. So yeah, that's my conclusion. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you next time.